Leading Scotland's Foundation Apprenticeship delivery since 2019, Aberdeenshire Council offers work-based qualifications equivalent to hires. The programme combines classroom learning with workplace experience, achieving significantly above average pass rates. A new energy engineering pilot with Offshore Energies UK addresses sector skill gaps, with 86% of participants improving industry networking and 94% enhancing workplace understanding. The programme effectively bridges education and employment.
Unfortunately, I can't be with you today to the Global Infrastructure and Built Environment Showcase event. We're going to be talking with Andrew here about the work that we're doing together on Foundation Apprenticeships, which is very much a passion of myself, because for 25 years supporting schools, I've found that this has been the missing link. This is the key thing that we've been looking for as employers. We've struggled with the feedstock for modern apprenticeships because really hard to tell the meta skills and the employability skills that the youngsters have, because they're not having that Saturday job, weekend job, and whatever experience that they used to have. But also the other thing, and it really sets Foundation Apprenticeships apart, is that they're still at school. They're still at school, which means that there's a link between the employer and education. So when they suddenly realise that they needed to stick in at the maths, that these equations that they're using within the workplace are what their maths teacher had been talking about, and suddenly the two things click together. And for me, this is how they build their meta skills. They're getting an equivalent, a qualification with an equivalent to hire, and really ready for the world of work by the time they finish that Foundation Apprenticeship. I'm a former apprentice myself, and for me, working on building engines with my father and whatever was pretty straightforward. So I had built up meta skills by the time that I actually started my apprenticeship, and so it was quite an easy transition. And everyone around me was working in apprenticeships. That's in fact, we never knew anybody that went to university. And then somewhere along the line, universities seemed to be the goal for so many of the youngsters, and which is fine, and that works. But now we're getting to a stage where the employers are saying, well, what's coming from university are lacking these employability meta skills. And I'm thinking, well, actually, that's because we've missed out this whole step with modern apprenticeships, where they were actually gaining that through there. So by almost signposting towards university or higher education, we're needing something really to focus the youngsters in the world of work. And suddenly this is where Andrew and I met through the work that they were doing at Balmoral Estate. And I suddenly realised for 25 years, this was a missing link here. This is where the youngsters could get an opportunity to see the world of work, to decide, try before they buy, see if they were interested in it, see if it was something that they want to do, but also understand what were the meta skills, what were the qualifications that we need, and they're still at school. So suddenly they can say, well, hold on a minute, I can still stick in at maths. I'm not finished here yet. I've still got an opportunity to go in there, do that extra bit of work, roll up my sleeves, and I can see where my pathway is going to take me within this role. Or maybe perhaps an apprenticeship's not the route. Maybe stick in a bit more, I can go to university. So Foundation Apprenticeships open up those pathways, and it's the close link between education and industry that sets them apart. So one of the key things we find, and why I'm so supportive of the FAs, and certainly I can only speak from experience we Andrew and the team at Aberdeenshire Council here, but it's that engagement with industry. We sit down at a very early stage and understand what the business needs are, because it's got to be driven by business. It's got to be driven by the actual employer and what they're looking for. And then contextualizing it for the employer. So the employer can understand where the grades are, what a Nat 5 is compared to their O grades, and how all that fits in together. But they understand then the expectations within the curriculum, and then they can say, right, okay, well, let's work together on perhaps a certain area within a science subject or whatever, where we need to expand a bit more. So what you've ended up with the FAs is actually a course designed by industry with education for industry. And so then the outcomes of that is something that the employers already bought into. In fact, we've seen with the NHS how they've now said, is, well, there's an entry point for us. The FAs are actually a recruitment entry point, which has been tremendous. So where we turned our attention now, because my background's been in oil and gas and now in energy across the whole width of offshore wind, wave, tidal, hydrogen, carbon capture and storage, we've got a demographic now of an aging working population that it's not about transferable skills from one sector to the other. We need to start building the feedstock of the future. If we're going to grow this, we need to build that feedstock through. And what we found was with the reports and the work that Andrew and the team had done, that there was a big demand for the pupils looking at engineering, but at the same time, the uptake within the FAs at engineering was quite low. So when you look at it a bit further, and this is where it was an education for me, these were targeted at FAs level 6. And if at level 6, then you're top maths, you're top science, and you're actually probably heading for university. What we're actually looking for, and certainly employers are looking for at technician level, we're looking at a level 5 to get them started. It doesn't matter where they start because they can still move on further, but they need to get a start. And so industry, and this is where OEUK, Offshore Energies UK, SPE, and our own company, Carjon-NRG, are all working together with the team at Aberdeenshire Council here to build a foundation pathway. It's not an apprenticeship because we're not there, but building a foundation pathway in energy engineering level 5. And that'll be ownership of the industry, working along with education. And we've already got hundreds of pupils wanting to be involved, and we've 30 employers want to be part of that. And we're working through a pilot at the moment. So that has been very much a success brought by building blocks of the FAs and business studies and finance and SciTech from before.